Bring me the numbers now. Her voice cut across the room like a blade. Yes, ma'am. I hurried over with the file clutched in my hands. My palms were damp, but I told myself it didn't matter. She trusted me. She always did, or so I thought. I placed the file in front of her desk. The Q3 analysis is complete. I stayed up all night. She didn't even glance at me. This is what you call analysis. My heart skipped. Is something wrong with it? She slammed the file shut, the sound echoing across the open floor. Heads turned. People were staring. You're useless, she said, her voice sharp enough to pierce bone. You've been with me 3 years and you can't even prepare a simple report? The office went silent. I felt every gaze on me like a weight. My mouth went dry. Ma'am, I whispered. I checked the numbers 3 times. If there's a mistake, a mistake? She laughed, but it wasn't amusement. It was contempt. You are the mistake. You hold me back every single day, I froze. The words sliced through me. I gave everything to this job. To you, then stop giving, she snapped. Because I don't want it. Someone coughed in the background. I could hear whispered murmurs. I clenched my fists. After all I've done, you really think I'm useless? Her eyes met mine, cold and unflinching. You were always just a shadow following me around. An assistant, nothing more. I don't need shadows, my chest tightened. I wanted to shout, to fight back, but my voice cracked. I thought you trusted me. I trusted you to fetch coffee and file papers, not to think, she said flatly. You overestimate yourself. The office chuckled nervously. Laughter burned my ears. I swallowed hard. Why are you doing this in front of everyone? If I failed you, at least let me fix it. Fix it. She smirked. You can't fix being incompetent. The words hit harder than any slap. You're fired. The room gasped. I heard it gasps, whispers. Someone even muttered, poor guy. I staggered back. You're firing me? Just like that? Yes. She leaned back in her chair like a queen dismissing a servant. Clean your desk. Security will escort you out. Silence stretched. I laughed bitterly, the sound broken. After everything, after 3 years of working until dawn, missing meals, running myself into the ground, this is how it ends? You chose to worship me, she said coldly. I never asked for your sacrifices. Her words felt like knives twisting inside me. Was I really nothing to you? My voice trembled. Not even a little. She raised a brow. Don't mistake loyalty for love. You're nothing but an employee who overstayed his usefulness. The crowd murmured again. Someone whispered. That's harsh, but she didn't flinch. I felt the ground vanish beneath me. My throat closed. My hands shook. For 3 years, I believed in her. I believed my work mattered. I believed I mattered now. All I saw was her disdain. You'll regret this, I muttered, before I could stop myself. She smirked. Regret? You're not worth regret. Her words echoed in my skull, louder than the whispers around me. Security approached. One man tapped my shoulder. Sir, your things? I pulled away. My desk, my little corner of the office. The pens I bought myself. The mug she once teased me about. You drink too much coffee? She'd said, laughing. That memory stabbed me now. I stuffed everything into a box, while voices murmured around me. Did you hear what she said? Man, that's brutal. He gave her his life, and she's cold, ruthless. But that's why she's the boss. Their whispers followed me like shadows. When I passed her office one last time, I paused. She looked up, annoyed. Why are you still here? I stared at her, searching for a flicker of humanity. I thought we were a team. Her lips curved in disdain. You were never my equal. Don't forget that. I wanted to scream, to throw the box at her, to beg her to take it back, but Instead, I whispered, thank you, for showing me who you really are. She frowned, but I didn't wait for a reply. I walked out, each step heavier than the last. Outside, the sky was gray, the city noise swallowing me whole. I leaned against the wall, my box clutched tight. My heart pounded, my vision blurred. I whispered to myself, I will never beg again. The vow tasted bitter, but it was all I had left, and as the cold wind hit my face, I realized something today wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a storm I would unleash one day. I walked away, broken but breathing, with her voice still echoing in my ears. You're fired. You're useless. You're nothing. But deep inside, another voice whispered louder not for long. Man, what happened at the office? I heard Jin's voice through the phone. My old friend. At least he used to be. You don't know? I asked bitterly. I heard rumors, he said carefully, that you messed up some big deal, and she threw me out like garbage. My laugh was hollow. In front of everyone, silence hung on the line. Finally, he said, look, I don't want to get involved. It's her word against yours. You believe her, don't you? I just don't want trouble, he muttered, then hung up. The dial tone mocked me. One by one, friends I thought I had began vanishing. None of them wanted to be seen with the man she called useless. 2 weeks later, I sat in my tiny apartment staring at unpaid bills. 3 months overdue, the landlord barked at my door. I'll get the money, I promised weakly. You said that last time, he sighed. 1 more week, or you're out. I closed the door and leaned against it. My stomach growled. I hadn't eaten properly in days. I looked at the empty fridge and muttered, guess it's water again. That night, I ran into Min, a colleague from the old office. He spotted me outside a convenience store, holding nothing but instant noodles. Wow, you really fell hard, he said, eyes scanning me. Yeah, thanks for reminding me, I muttered. He smirked. You know, people are saying she was right, that you were dead weight. I clenched my jaw. Do you believe that too? He shrugged. She's still up there, shining. You're down here. Who do you think people will believe? His words stung worse than the hunger in my belly. Enjoy your noodles, he said, walking away. I wanted to scream after him, but the truth was already choking me. He was right, everyone believed her. Back in my apartment, I lay on the floor, staring at the cracked ceiling. Her words replayed like a curse. You're useless. You hold me back. You're fired, I whispered into the silence. Am I really worthless? My chest ached. My eyes burned. I hated myself for caring so much. But every night, her voice was louder than my own. Days blurred. Hunger sharpened my thoughts. I pawned my watch. I sold my suit. I even avoided Mirror's eye, couldn't stand the hollow-eyed man staring back. One afternoon, another former colleague outside a cafe, she gasped. What happened to you? What do you think? I snapped. Don't talk like that, she said softly. I wanted to reach out, but she told everyone not to. My chest tightened. So you all just obeyed? She's powerful. People are afraid of losing their jobs. I laughed bitterly. And I was the sacrifice. Her eyes softened. I don't think you're worthless, but you look like you've given up. Her words stung because they were true. I had given up. I whispered. Maybe I have. She looked at me for a long time, then whispered, Don't let her define you. And she left. Her words echoed in my head the rest of the night. Days turned into weeks. My body was weak, but my mind grew restless. I started writing in an old notebook, anger, pain, fragments of ideas. One night I stared at the scribbles and muttered, This pain, it's teaching me. I remembered every sneer, every whisper, every betrayal. The hunger became a reminder. I was still alive. I stood in front of the cracked mirror, my face pale, my eyes fierce. You're not broken, I told my reflection. You're being remade. The man staring back didn't look like an assistant anymore. He looked like someone who had nothing left to lose. And I sat on the park bench with a paper cup of cheap coffee, staring at the ground. My body was weak, my spirit worse. The world moved around me, but I felt invisible. Still the same stubborn face. I looked up, startled. An older man in a gray coat stood before me. His sharp eyes, familiar yet distant, narrowed as he studied me. "Mr. Hahn," I whispered. He nodded. "You remember? How could I forget? You were the investor who collapsed in the lobby that night. I stayed until the ambulance came." He smiled faintly. "And you refused to leave until you knew I was safe. An assistant, yet you had more sense than the executives." I shook my head. "That was years ago." He sat beside me. "And yet here you are, drinking cold coffee like it's medicine." "Don't mock me," I muttered. "I'm not mocking. I'm wondering how the man who once saved me ended up looking like this." I sighed. "Because I was foolish. I gave everything to someone who threw me away." His eyes sharpened. "Her," I clenched my jaw. "You know, rumors travel. She called you useless. She humiliated you." The word still burned. "She did worse than that. She made me believe I was nothing." He leaned forward. "And do you believe her?" I hesitated. "I don't know anymore." "Good," he said firmly. "Doubt means there's still fire inside you." I laughed bitterly. "Fire? Look at me. I can barely pay rent. Money isn't fire, spirit is. And I see it in you even now." I stared at him. "Why do you care?" "You barely know me." He folded his arms. "Because loyalty is rare. You didn't leave me that night when even my partners did." "I don't forget that." I frowned. "So what? You pity me?" He shook his head. "No, pity's cheap. What I offer you is a chance." My heart skipped. "A chance?" "Yes, I've been looking for someone sharp, someone hungry, not spoiled by comfort. Someone who understands what it means to fall and still stand up again." "Why me?" I whispered. "Because you've already been burned. Men who've lost everything fight harder than men who've had everything handed to them." His words cut deep. I wanted to believe him, but fear clawed at me. I failed once. What if I fail again? He looked me in the eye. "Then fail again. And again. But each time, you'll rise stronger. That's what matters." I clenched the paper cup. "You don't understand. She laughed when she fired me. She said I was useless. Everyone believed her. Even my friends abandoned me." His tone sharpened. "And will you let her voice define the rest of your life?" I froze. He pressed on. "Every time you hear her laughter, use it. Let it remind you of who you never want to be again." Her face flashed in my mind, the smirk, the contempt. My stomach turned, but something inside me sparked. I whispered, "She broke me." "No," he corrected. "She revealed you." There's a difference. I looked at him, unsure whether to hate or thank him. "And what exactly are you offering?" "A seat at my side. Learn from me. Work with me. Prove yourself. I'll give you the tools, but you'll build the future." My breath caught. "Why risk it on me?" He smiled. "Because men like you are dangerous if they learn to believe in themselves." I stared at my trembling hands. For weeks, they had only held scraps, bills, and regrets. Could they really hold power? "I don't know if I can," I whispered. "You can," he said firmly. "The question is, will you?" The silence stretched. My chest tightened with fear. Then I remembered her voice echoing in my head. "You're useless. You're nothing." I gritted my teeth. "No, not anymore." He raised a brow. "So you'll do it?" "Yes." My voice was steady now. "Not as a beggar. Not as a shadow. I'll take this chance as a man ready to fight for his future." Mr. Hahn's lips curved into a faint smile. "Good, then stand up." I stood. My legs trembled, but my heart did not. "That's the first step," he said. "Now, let's begin." For the first time in months, I felt alive. "Sit," Mr. Hahn said, pointing at the chair across from him. His office was massive, lined with glass windows overlooking the city. I sat down, trying not to look nervous. "Tell me," he began. "What is business?" I blinked. "Profit. Deals."
Numbers.
He shook his head. "Wrong. Business is war disguised in contracts. Every handshake is a duel. Every word is a weapon. I frowned. Then how do you win? You don't fight harder, you fight smarter, he said. Now, let's see if you can. He slid a document toward me. Negotiate this. I skimmed it. But there's no one here to negotiate with. He smiled faintly. You'll practice with me. I swallowed. And if I lose, then you'll learn. Losing isn't failure, staying weak is. That was how my days began, with questions. With challenges, with failures that stung but taught me. One afternoon, after I stumbled through a mock deal, Mr. Hahn leaned back and said, "You hesitate too much." Why? Because I'm afraid of sounding stupid, I admitted. Then sound stupid, he said bluntly. Better to speak and fail than stay silent and invisible. Silence is what made her believe you were just a shadow. Her name wasn't spoken, but I felt it anyway. My chest tightened. He continued, "Your voice is a blade. Sharpen it." At night, I practiced in front of the mirror. I'm not useless, I said. My work has value. My voice has weight. The reflection stared back, stronger each time. Weeks later, Mr. Hahn brought me into a real meeting. The table was filled with sharp suits and sharper smiles. "Observe," he whispered. "But don't be silent." I nodded, heart pounding. Halfway through, a man dismissed one of my points. "That's naive. Let the adults handle this." The old me would have shut down. But I remembered Mr. Hahn's words. My voice shook, but I said, "Naive doesn't mean wrong. Look again at the numbers. If you ignore this trend, you'll lose half your clients in a year." The room went silent. The man frowned, checked the page, and then muttered, "He's right." All eyes turned to me. For the first time, people actually listened. When the meeting ended, Mr. Hahn whispered, "That was your first kill. How does it feel?" I almost laughed. Terrifying, but good. Over dinners, he tested me further. "What do you want?" he asked one night over steaming bowls of soup. "To succeed?" I said. "Too vague?" "What do you really want?" I hesitated. Then the words spilled out. "I want to stand above her. I want her to see me and realize she threw away the man she needed most." He nodded slowly. "Revenge is fuel. But be careful, it burns fast. Build more than anger. Build power." "Power," I echoed. "Yes, power is when people have no choice but to respect you." Months passed. I devoured books, studied cases, shadowed negotiations. Slowly, people around the office began greeting me differently. "Morning, sir," one assistant said. "Sir, not hey kid, not errand boy." For the first time in my life, the title fit. One evening, after a long day, I stood by the window. The city lights stretched endlessly. I whispered, "Do you see me now?" Her face flashed in my mind, cold, dismissive, untouchable. I clenched my fists. "I'll make you regret underestimating me." Mr. Hahn walked in quietly. "Talking to ghosts?" I turned. "She's not a ghost. Not yet." He studied me. "You still think of her?" "How can I not?" I said bitterly. "Every step I take, I hear her laugh. Every success, I wonder if she'd even recognize me now." He chuckled. "Recognition isn't the goal. Dominance is." "I want both," I admitted. He smirked. "Then work harder." Late nights bled into early mornings. My body ached, but my mind sharpened. I learned when to push, when to yield, when to let silence speak louder than words. One night, I collapsed into a chair across from Mr. Hahn. "I can't keep this pace." "You can," he said. "You already have. You just don't believe it yet. I'm not sure I'll ever believe it fully." He leaned forward. "Then borrow my belief until you do." I see a man rising. The question is, will you let him rise? Or will you keep staring back at the boy she broke? His words struck me hard. I whispered, "I'm not that boy anymore." "Then prove it," he said. The next week, he handed me a contract. Your turn to lead, I froze. Me? Yes, you've learned enough. Now show me. The meeting was brutal. Experienced sharks circled, trying to rip me apart. But I stood firm. I stumbled, I fought, I countered, and when the final deal closed in our favor, the shock on their faces was priceless. Mr. Han clapped me on the shoulder afterward. Congratulations. You just won your first real war. I exhaled, shaking. I did it. Yes, he said with pride. Now, imagine what else you can do. That night, staring again at the glowing city, I whispered, if she saw me now, would she even recognize me? A small smile touched my lips. I'm no longer. The polished marble floor gleamed beneath my shoes as I stepped into the lobby. 2 years ago, I left this place broken. Today I returned as someone they would all bow to. Sir, may I help you? The receptionist asked politely. She didn't recognize me. I smiled faintly. No need. I know exactly where I'm going. The boardroom doors loomed ahead. I pushed them open, and the low hum of conversation halted instantly. Faces turned. Whispers filled the air. Who is he? Why is he here? I thought today was just for shareholders. I walked calmly to the empty chair at the table's head. Every eye followed me. The chairman cleared his throat. Mr. Han informed us a new partner was joining. But I didn't expect his words trailed off as I sat down. I looked across the table, and there she was. Her eyes widened. The color drained from her face. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. For the first time, she looked powerless. I leaned back and said evenly, surprised to see me? She finally managed, you it can't be. Oh, it is, I said. 2 years ago, you fired me in this very building. Today, I return as one of its largest shareholders. Gasps rippled through the room. You're lying, she snapped, regaining a shred of composure. This is some kind of joke. I slid the folder across the table. Check the records. My shares are there. Purchased legally, documented properly. I don't play games. Her hands trembled as she scanned the papers. Silence followed. The chairman coughed. Well, it appears everything is in order. Welcome, Mr. Park. Thank you, I replied smoothly. She glared at me. Why? Why would you do this? Why, I echoed, locking eyes with her. Because you taught me something valuable. You taught me what it means to be underestimated. You showed me what it feels like to be discarded. And I swore never again. Her voice dropped. You came back for revenge? I smirked. Call it justice. The board members shifted uncomfortably, unsure whether to intervene. One finally asked, should we proceed with today's agenda? Yes, I said, not breaking eye contact with her. Please continue, but she slammed her hand on the table. No, not until I understand what this means. You sitting here like you belong, this is insane. I tilted my head. Do I not belong? My shares say otherwise. Her jaw clenched. You were nothing but an assistant, was I corrected. Now I'm your partner. More than that, your superior. Numbers don't lie. The room buzzed again. Enough, the chairman interjected. Personal matters aside, we must move forward. Mr. Park, perhaps you'd like to share your vision for the company? I stood slowly. Gladly I addressed the table, but my gaze lingered on her. This company has potential, but it's suffocating under arrogance and short-sightedness. I intend to expand partnerships, restructure weak divisions, and double revenue in the next 2 years. I don't plan on being a silent partner. I plan on leading. The board erupted in murmurs of approval. She sat frozen, her fists clenched beneath the table. When the meeting adjourned, most members shook my hand. Welcome, they said. Looking forward to working with you. Finally, it was just the two of us. She spoke first, her voice sharp but shaky. You think this makes you powerful? I stepped closer. No, my power isn't just sitting at this table. My power is watching you realize the man you humiliated is now the man who decides your future. Her eyes flickered with fear, then anger. I won't let you take everything from me. I leaned in slightly. I don't need to take everything. You'll destroy yourself trying to fight me. She looked at me like she didn't recognize the person standing before her. And maybe she didn't. As I left the boardroom, I whispered to myself, "That's right. See me now." The taste of that moment was sharp revenge, justice, victory. But beneath it all, I felt something else. Bitterness, sadness. Because no matter how high I rose, I could never erase the memory of being broken. Yet one thing was certain. I would never be broken again. Meeting starts in 5 minutes. "Sir," the secretary told me as I stepped into the hallway. I nodded. "I'll be there." Walking toward the boardroom, I caught whispers from employees. "Is that really him? He used to be her assistant. And now? Now he's one of the bosses." I didn't acknowledge them, but every glance, every hushed word fueled me. Inside, the meeting was already in motion. She sat at the head of the table, speaking confidently. "We'll continue with the same strategy. It's safe, proven, and yields consistent profits." I slid into my chair. Safe doesn't mean effective. Playing small keeps us stagnant. Her eyes narrowed. "You think reckless risks will save us?" "Calculated risks," I corrected. "There's a difference." The chairman raised a brow. "Mr. Park, care to elaborate?" "Yes," I said. "If we invest in tech integration now, we'll outpace competitors within a year. Sticking to outdated systems will drag us behind," she scoffed. "Dreams don't balance ledgers." "Neither does fear," I replied. The room stirred with murmurs. For once, not everyone nodded at her words. After the meeting, I caught her glare. "You love showing off, don't you?" She hissed. I smiled. "No. I just hate watching this company rot while you cling to control. You think you can outshine me?" "I don't think," I said quietly. I know. Days turned into weeks. Every meeting, I challenged her. Every proposal I made gained traction. Slowly, the board leaned my way. One morning, an employee stopped me in the hallway. "Mr. Park, thank you for pushing that policy. It really helps the staff." I nodded. "I'm only doing what should have been done." As I walked away, I saw her watching from the upper balcony, her expression unreadable. In the next board session, she snapped, "You're undermining me." She shouted. I raised a brow. "By presenting better ideas? You twist words, sway opinions, or maybe," I cut in. "People simply prefer logic over pride." The board fell silent. She looked at me as if I'd struck her. Later that evening, she cornered me in the elevator. "What's your end game?" she demanded. I met her eyes. "End game. To see this company thrive? Don't lie. This is about me. It's always been about me." I leaned closer. "You're not wrong. Watching you squirm is satisfying. But don't flatter yourself, I don't revolve around you anymore," she faltered. Just for a second, before putting her mask back on. "You'll never be more than the man I fired." "Maybe," I said as the doors opened. "But I'll always be the man who came back stronger." That night, I stood by my office window, looking at the city lights. My chest ached. I remembered her laughter. Her smile before everything soured. Mr. Hahn's words echoed in my mind. Strength isn't just about crushing others. It's about proving you don't need to. But every time I thought of her voice spitting useless at me, my jaw tightened. The next morning, she entered the boardroom late. I noticed the tension in her posture. "Let's begin," she said coldly. I waited for her to finish and presented my plan for a new expansion. "It's too ambitious," she objected. I leaned forward. "Or maybe it's exactly what ambition looks like." The chairman glanced between us. "I believe Mr. Park has a point." One by one, heads nodded. The vote passed my proposal approved. She looked crushed. Afterward, she confronted me in the hallway. "Do you enjoy humiliating me?" I stared at her. "Do you remember that day you humiliated me?" In front of everyone? Her lips parted, but no sound came. I whispered, "This isn't revenge. This is balance." Weeks later, employees greeted me with respect. They stopped avoiding my gaze. They asked for advice. For the first time, my voice carried weight. Still at night, I couldn't shake her face from my thoughts. Why do I still care? I muttered to myself. I hated that I wasn't free of her. I hated that some part of me still remembered the woman I once admired. The next meeting was tense. She presented her ideas, desperate, almost frantic. We should cut spending drastically, she argued. That will cripple innovation, I countered. Fear-driven decisions destroy companies. You're undermining me again? She shouted. No, I said firmly. I'm saving what you're too blinded by pride to protect. The board shifted uncomfortably. Her voice cracked. You think you've won? I answered softly. This was never a game. You're the one who turned it into one. When the meeting ended, she avoided my eyes. Watching her crumble should have felt like victory. Instead, it felt like standing on ashes. I returned to my office, shutting the door behind me. For a long time, I sat in silence. Part of me wanted her to suffer, to drown in the humiliation she gave me. But another part remembered the nights I once stayed late just to make her smile. I whispered to the empty room. Why can't I let go? No answer came. Only the echo of my own voice. I had risen, proven myself, shifted. The office was dark except for the glow from her corner. I hadn't planned on staying late, but the sight of her hunched over a bottle froze me. Drinking alone? I asked, her head jerked up. You? Her voice was slurred, sharp edges dulled by alcohol. Why are you still here? I could ask you the same. She laughed bitterly. Because this is all I have. The company. The title. The chair at the end of the table. Without it, she trailed off, staring into her glass. You'd still have yourself, I said. Don't lie to me. Her eyes glistened. You think I don't know? People worship me in the day, then curse me at night. And you, she pointed at me with an unsteady hand. You're the one they admire now. I stayed silent. Say it, she pressed. Say you love watching me fall. I clenched my jaw. I don't love it, but I won't deny it feels like justice. She laughed again, then coughed. Justice. Yes, I suppose I deserve it. The room grew heavier. Do you know why I fired you? She whispered. I answered coldly. Because I was disposable? No. She slammed the glass down, liquid spilling. Because you weren't. You were dangerous. My brows furrowed. Dangerous? You made me rely on you, she said, her voice breaking. Every decision, every crisis I turned to you. I depended on you more than myself. And it terrified me. I stared at her. That's your excuse? Fear? Her eyes filled with tears. It wasn't just fear of weakness. It was fear of you. Fear of what I felt. The words hung between us, raw and trembling. You're drunk, I muttered. Yes, she admitted, wiping her face. Drunk enough to say what I should have said long ago. You weren't just an assistant to me. You were, she bit her lip. You were the one person who saw me, not the mask. And that scared me more than failure ever could. My chest tightened, but anger pushed through. So instead of facing it, you destroyed me. Her sob escaped before she could stop it. I thought if I cut you off, I could kill the feeling. But I killed you instead. I turned away, my fists clenched. Do you know what those months were like for me? Do you have any idea what you turned me into? Yes, she whispered. I watched. From afar, I knew, and I hated myself for it. Her words struck harder than I wanted them to. You don't get to erase the damage with tears. I said, I know, she murmured. I don't want forgiveness. I needed you to know the truth. The silence stretched. My rage wanted me to walk out, to leave her drowning in her regrets. Yet something else, something softer, kept me rooted. You broke me, I said quietly. but you also taught me how to stand." Her eyes lifted, wide, wet. "And now you stand above me." I swallowed hard. "Maybe, but tonight, you don't look like the woman who towered over anyone. You just look human." She let out a trembling laugh. "Don't pity me." "I don't," I said. "Pity would mean I cared less than I do." The words slipped out before I could stop them. Her lips parted. But she said nothing. Only silence, fragile and unbearable, filled the room. I turned toward the door. "Sober up. Tomorrow, you'll put the mask back on, and I'll be there, standing across from you. Don't expect me to forget this night." Her voice followed me as I left. "I don't want you to forget. I just want you to understand." I paused, hand on the door, heart twisting, but I didn't look back. The crack in her armor was real. It rattled me more than I cared to admit. The boardroom buzzed with whispers long after the meeting ended. I lingered behind, watching the directors file out. Their faces twisted with doubt. "They're losing faith in her," one muttered. "She's slipping," another replied. I didn't need their words to confirm what I already knew. She was unraveling, and everyone smelled blood. When the last of them left, I gathered my notes. That was when I heard her voice. "Stay." I looked up. She stood at the far end of the table, her usual poise gone. Her eyes were rimmed red, her hands trembling slightly as she clutched a folder. "What is it?" I asked, keeping my tone neutral. She exhaled shakily. "I need to talk to you, alone." I gestured to the empty chairs. "Then talk." She walked closer, each step heavy. Finally, she stopped across from me, staring as though the words physically hurt. "They're turning against me," she whispered. "You noticed," I said flatly. "Don't." Her voice cracked. "Don't be cruel right now." "Not when she swallowed. Not when I'm asking for your help." The irony cut through me like glass. "You fired me once," I said slowly. "And now you want me to save you?" Her eyes glistened. "Yes." I let the silence stretch, savoring the raw desperation on her face. "Why should I?" I asked finally. "Because you can," she said. "Because the board listens to you. Because when you speak, they lean in. And when I speak now, they look away." I folded my arms. "And you expect me to lend you my voice?" Her lips trembled. "I expect nothing. I'm begging." The sight unsettled me. The woman who once shattered me now stood hollowed, stripped of her armor. I leaned forward. "Tell me why I shouldn't let them devour you." Her hands clenched the folder. "Because if you do, you'll become them. Ruthless, merciless, empty." I laughed bitterly. "That's rich. Coming from you, I know," she whispered. "I know what I did to you. I see it every time you look at me. But if you let me fall now, it won't heal you. It'll poison you." I felt my jaw tighten. "And what if I want that poison?" Her tears finally spilled. "Then you'll never be free of me." Her words stabbed deeper than I expected. "You think I'm not already chained?" I shot back. "Every step I took to rise, your shadow followed. Do you understand that? Even my victories taste like reminders of you." She flinched. "I never wanted—" "Don't lie," I cut in. "I'm not," she insisted. "I didn't want to destroy you. I wanted to destroy what I felt. But feelings don't die, do they?" I stared at her, my chest burning. "And now you come to me, asking for mercy?" "Yes." She dropped the folder onto the table with a thud. "Everything's inside. My mistakes, my miscalculations, the reports they'll use to bury me. I'm showing you because I have nothing left to hide. If you choose to use it against me, I won't stop you." I opened the folder, scanning briefly. Numbers, deals, errors, magnified like wounds. She wasn't exaggerating. This was enough to end her. "Why give me this?" I asked. "Because I trust you," she said softly. "Even now. Especially now." I closed the folder slowly, the weight of it pressing on my palms. "You trust the man you once broke?" "I trust the man who rebuilt himself stronger," she whispered. Her words left me momentarily breathless. I wanted to crush her with this evidence, to hand it over to the board and watch her empire burn. Yet my chest ached with something I couldn't smother. Say I help you, I said carefully. What happens then? Do you expect things to go back the way they were? No, she said quickly. They can't. I don't want that. I want a chance to fight. With your strength beside mine, not against me. I shook my head. Do you hear yourself? After everything, you still think we could stand on the same side? She stepped closer, desperation thick in her eyes. Not as master and servant, not as enemy and victor, just as equals. The word cut deeper than any plea equals, I repeated. You never once treated me as one before. I know, she whispered. That's my greatest regret. Silence wrapped around us, thick and suffocating. My hand tightened on the folder. This is my chance, I said quietly. One word from me, and you're finished. The power is mine now. Don't you see? She nodded slowly, tears dripping onto the table. Yes. And that's why I came to you. Because I trust you not to become what I was. Her faith felt like a blade pressed against my chest. I looked at her, trembling between rage and something softer. If I save you, it's not for you. It's for me. To prove I'm not your shadow anymore. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. I pushed the folder back toward her. Fix it. Clean your mess. I'll keep the board at bay for now. But understand this. You don't own my mercy. You live under it, she broke then, covering her face with her hands. Thank you, she whispered through sobs. I turned away, my chest heavy. I couldn't tell if I'd spared. I stood in the boardroom one last time, the place that once haunted me. The air was still heavy with tension, but inside me, there was only calm. She sat across the table, her eyes searching mine like she could still find a way to control me. Is this it? She asked, her voice almost breaking. You're leaving me to face this alone? I leaned back in my chair, watching her struggle to hold the mask together. You're not alone. The company will survive. I made sure of that. That's not what I meant. Her hands clenched on the table. You could end me with one word. Everyone here listens to you now, and what would that accomplish? I asked softly. Do you want me to humiliate you the way you humiliated me? Her lips trembled, but she forced a smirk. Maybe I deserve it. Maybe you do, I said, my chest tightening. But I'm not that man anymore. She swallowed hard. You think walking away makes you noble? It makes you weak. No, I said firmly. It makes me free. The board members exchanged uneasy glances, but none dared interrupt. For once, I wasn't speaking as her assistant, or even as her rival. I was simply myself. She leaned forward, desperate now. You don't understand. Everything I built, slipping away. I can't fight them without you. You mean you can't control them without me? I corrected. That's the difference. Her eyes glistened. So you'll just let me fall? I'll let you face the consequences of your choices, I said. That's not cruelty. That's justice. She shook her head. I never meant to destroy you. I laughed quietly. You called me useless. You fired me in front of everyone. You made me question my worth every single day. Don't pretend it was anything less than deliberate. Her voice cracked. I was scared, all right? You were becoming too important. I didn't know how to handle it. I stared at her, the weight of her confession pressing against old scars. Fear doesn't excuse betrayal. No, it doesn't, she whispered. But it was real. I depended on you more than I should have, and it terrified me. For a moment, silence filled the room. The woman who once towered over me looked smaller than I had ever seen her. I rose slowly from my chair. You taught me something that day. When you broke me, I thought I'd never recover. But pain remade me. It forced me to find my own strength. And now, I gestured around the room. I don't need your validation anymore. Her eyes widened, panic flashing across them. So that's it? You walk out and leave me to be torn apart? I shook my head. No, I'll stabilize the company. I'll protect the employees. But you, I paused, letting my words cut through the air. You'll have to rebuild yourself. Or not. That's no longer my burden. She stood, her voice rising. You can't just abandon me like this. I turned to leave. You abandoned me first. Her footsteps echoed behind me. Please, just tell me what you want. Money? Power? Revenge? Say it. I stopped at the doorway, my hand resting on the frame. What I want, I exhaled slowly. I want peace. And I'll never have that if I become the same as you. Her voice broke into a whisper. You still hate me, I glanced back. No. Hate would mean you still control me. But you don't. The boardroom was silent as I walked out. Each step felt lighter than the last. The ghosts of my past seemed to fade with the sound of the door closing behind me. Outside, the city stretched before me, alive with lights in motion. For the first time, I wasn't chasing her shadow or fighting her chains. I was my own man. Her downfall was inevitable, but it wasn't my hand that pushed her. That was the difference between us. She destroyed herself with pride. I rebuilt myself with resolve, I whispered to the night air. Sometimes the best revenge is no revenge at all.